Max Payne oozes early 2000s. It is unashamedly over the top in its efforts to be badass. From the hard-boiled, smooth-talking protagonist to the way you can see individual bullets fly past you in slow motion, Max Payne is enraptured with the idea of being the coolest, sickest action game this side of the solar system. Of course, the biggest part of Max Payne's legacy is its bullet time. What else would it be? Every cool action movie, the coolest of the cool, slows time just as the shit hits the fan. It's another stroke of genius to turn this into a resource when implementing it into a video game. Having an ace up your sleeve to use when things get hairy makes the game feel so much more manageable. Your bullet time gets replenished with every enemy you kill, so it's a rare occasion when you run out. Thankfully, the game is challenging enough where it never feels like bullet time just becomes a win button. In fact, it can even be a hindrance if you're overzealous like I was. Bullet time is such an ingenious mechanic, giving you a brief moment to evaluate and strategize in what can be a very chaotic game. There's a reason why it's endured more than any other part of this game. Even though bullet time seems to be untouched by the years, Max Payne on the whole has aged quite a bit. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. A lot of this game's charm comes from its age. Graphically, Max Payne is nowhere near as impressive as its contemporaries like Metal Gear Solid 2 and Eco, but, and this is going to make me sound like an apologist, I really think this game's dated graphics make it a much funnier game.
Halt! Ah!
Sam Lake's face plastered on our main character, always being there to greet you every time you pause the game, is some seriously iconic imagery. The environments are really no more impressive than late PS1 games, but all these chunky textures and wide open areas with little in the way of decoration really make Max Payne feel like a little microcosm of its era. It's endearing, you know? Another aspect in which Max Payne's age has done it some good is its writing. This game is aggressively tropey from start to finish. The Mafia members are named Vinny, have posters of Italy spread out all over the walls, and say forget about it 3 times in one sentence.
Just forget about it. Just forget about it. Hey, just forget about it.
A lot of what makes the character of Max Payne so memorable is the way he speaks. His sentences consist of nonsensical metaphors and bizarre figures of speech. Max Payne's dialogue undergoes a strange process in which it tries so hard to be cool yet is so absurdly cheesy that it loops back around to being unironically sick, and I'm certain the writers knew this. Unfortunately, age has not always been kind to Max Payne, and it really begins to rear its ugly head when it comes to the controls. There's no 360 degrees movement here, no, you can only move in 6 directions. This already makes the game pretty janky at times, but what really sucks is that the developers were aware of this and made the horrific choice to include a plethora of balancing challenges. These aren't fun, they're just fucking frustrating because if you tilt your stick a 16th of an inch to the right or left while you're holding forwards, Max is gonna go careening off the edge. The blood trails and the dream sequences are particularly aggravating. These are otherwise excellent moments, entirely transforming the game into a horror experience. The atmosphere is so genuinely unpleasant as you walk the halls of Max's home in the final moments before his family's murder, but then you come up against this shitty balancing act where most of the challenge comes from wrestling with the controls. Aside from that, aiming can be pretty weird. Since Max Payne is from an era before aiming down sights became the standard, actually putting your crosshairs on the enemy can be a bit of a trick. To remedy this, the game will count shots as long as they are fired in the general direction of the enemy. This makes for some really clumsy shooting, as shots that feel like they landed a mile away connect, so when you do miss, you're not really sure why. Outside of bullet time, I found shooting to be a kind of throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks type situation. What I find really interesting is the recent announcement that the first 2 Max Paynes are getting a remake. With a little more polish, I think Max Payne can wipe some dust off and become something really special. I understand what made this game so great in 2001, but I think its age hasn't always done it good. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10.